our emotions are part of us. If we understand ourselves better, we can better understand others.
Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Systems with Laura.
This episode of Systems with Laura is brought to you by Proprium, business workflow and automation agency. If you're building a service-based business and you're overwhelmed by operations, automations, or choosing the right tools, this is exactly what Proprium helps with. Proprium builds systems that help you save time, reduce repetitive work, and scale without chaos. Learn more at proprium.agency.
Today, I'm joined by a very special guest, Kristina Marečić, a communication expert, educator, and founder of Win-Win Communication based in Sveti Ivan Zelina. Kristina specializes in helping children, young people, and employees develop sincere, open, and clear communication skills. Through her workshops, training sessions, webinars, and her own podcast called Win-Win Talks, Kristina empowers individuals and companies to strengthen emotional intelligence, set healthy boundaries, and find balance between their personal and professional lives. Today's conversation will inspire you to rethink how you communicate and how strong communication can change everything. So, welcome, Kristina, to my podcast.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being my guest. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you started this business?
Yeah, hello, everyone. My name is Kristina. I come from a little city near Zagreb. It's called Sveti Ivan Zelina. Yeah, well, I started my own business because I needed to change something. I needed to change myself, first of all, and then yeah, I t- I realized I needed to change my life after burnout and unhealthy boundaries. I knew I had to make a shift. You know, I couldn't be available 24/7 to everyone, to my boss, to my children, to my colleagues and clients. I need to change everything, And first idea came to me during the Corona time, but it was a really challenging time for me then. And last year I decided, okay, I'm going to start my own business now. And that was it. I start step by step. I create my own business plan. And here I am after a year later. Yeah.
I love that story. And I love how you basically described it. And I know a lot of people who are still, struggling. Should I quit my job, open my business? And they go with cycles of decision making. So it seems like took you 3 or 4 years basically to jump, into
Yeah.
entrepreneurship. Can you, walk me through that thought process? Because I think it can help a lot of people who are still on the verge, should I or should I not?
Yeah. It was not easy for me because, I have two kids and husband and family. And um, job, regular job from 8 to 4, and it was like, okay, should I put this on side and start my own, because idea is still was inside of me, and I was struggling with that yet a little bit, but I decided now is the time. There is no perfect time to start your own business. There is no perfect, I don't know, place or whatever you do. You need to listen yourself and just do it, really.
So how is your day different now when you're an entrepreneur versus when you were an employee?
Wow, it's very different, because you are in entrepreneurship for 7 years. So yeah, everything changed. My day basically looks like I woke up every day. I starting with practicing my yoga session with yoga sessions and meditations or breathing sessions. Then I have breakfast with my family, and then I start writing, planning, doing, preparing myself for workshops and training sessions, etc. And I have my everyday steps, which leading me to my to reach my goals. Yeah, and yeah, it's different.
It's so different. It's literally you have to kind of think about everything you have to do in a day. There's no it's so good that it's open. You don't have to, you don't have like we have to do this by end of quarter two, or we have to, get to this result or to that result.
Yeah.
It's more, but it's also scary because what do I do? What if I'm doing something wrong? What if this is not
Yeah.
working? Is this the correct plan? Do other entrepreneurs do this? So it's so many thoughts. I'm sure they
So
cross your
many
mind.
questions. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, we're both from Croatia, and we still have that mentality in Croatia related to the secure job, which is not true, in my opinion. So how does that entrepreneurial insecurity of income not being always the same every month, the fluctuations, how does that affect your motivation? How does that affect your day to day? How do you handle that after being an employee? That to me is the biggest change.
Yes, the biggest change and also the biggest challenge. But yeah, I have this inside motivation inside of me, and that drives me every day through every struggle. So I overcome myself and my struggles daily on daily basis. So yeah, it's not easy, but I have my goal, my vision, and I follow that. And I have also plans. So plans are like guidelines to me, but I also um, create space for life to happen. So the flexibility of plans, goals, and life to happen, I think, are the most important. So yeah, I practicing every day that.
I fully agree with that. I jumped into entrepreneurship after I graduated. So I didn't know what I was doing, for
Mhm.
sure, because I feel that you should at least work for somebody first so you can see how a real experience in the company looks like, how a structure looks like. And so you realize that every company is basically a living breathing organism that doesn't know what they're doing. Even if they
Yeah.
exist for 50 plus years, everybody's still changing stuff, adding stuff, and um, working in the market versus just studying was so different, because when you're in school you have structures, exams are then, these are
Yeah.
the books that you need to read for the exams. It's still stress when you're preparing for all of that, but you have those deadlines, you have everything kind of like spelled out. And then when you start your own business, you don't know what you're doing. You're just like pinpointing stuff, you know where you have to go, but you're figuring it out. And for me personally, that was very scary in the first few years. And I was so focused on making it all perfect and making it all work, if
Mm.
that makes sense. And then only when I realized that the to-do list will never get lower, I will never basically catch up on anything. And I need to kind of like be okay with the chaos and with things not being done and being perfect. That
Yeah.
I'm able to enjoy day to day, basically. How are you on
Yeah.
that, and how do you kind of handle that?
Mm-hmm. It depends. It depends of how I feel that day, what kind of task I need to get done, and yeah, to-do list. I have my own to-do list, but I'm more like a person with a whole picture, and I have goal and I have a vision, and I know I need to follow that. And task, we will. I know I will do task because I'm worker. I have discipline, and I will get this done. But
Fully agree. I think that's the crucial thing of being an entrepreneur. You see the big picture, and then you kind of do backwards planning basically by intuition or by steps that you prepare. And then you know, do you need more people? Do you need other resources? Do you need to do this yourself? You know, so you can decide. So which software do you use in your business?
well, I like to write it down everything because I'm journalist. I love writing, so I started with my own notebook and a pen, and then I used Gmail, Google Drive, and I don't know, etc. Create my own website, but I started with notebook and a pen.
I think that's very crucial also. No matter how much software I use, I have now an electronic pencil. I use Apple Pencil on my iPad because you have
Oh.
to kind of, you know, even when you have so much software, it's just easier. I think I remember more things if I write it down old school way, if that makes sense. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Great.
I'm thinking now a little bit more about the topic of your entrepreneurial journey, basically. So communication is at the front end of everything. So I'm
Yes.
wondering, what do you believe kind of the biggest communication challenges do people face today, both at work and in their personal lives?
Yeah. Uh, I believe that the biggest challenges are the lack of communication on one hand, and on the other hand, misunderstandings. Because when is no communication, it's a very big problem. And when we understand we when we do not understand other person, it's also very big communication problem. So we have to learn how to overcome these challenges and create space for open dialogue and open communication.
If today's episode makes you realize your tools are not supporting your business, Proprium builds systems in tools like Airtable, SmartSuite, ClickUp, HubSpot, Make, Zapier, and many more. Proprium's team maps your processes, builds your workflows, automates your tasks, and trains your team. If you want systems done properly, visit proprium.agency.
How do you think that we come to that honest communication? Is this something that requires, self work in some ways, or is it something that can be achieved with communication coach? What is the methods that you think is the best?
Mm-hmm. But well, a combination of self growth and learning communication skills, and also if you have good people, and when you surround yourself with good people, good mentors, you can learn. We can learn each other from everyone. So yeah, I prefer learning from others and from myself. So that works for me. I don't know what works best for you or other person, but combination is, I would say, for me the best.
So I work a lot with remote teams globally, and it's really hard when you are, with people from different countries only on written communication or via Zoom. So communication misunderstandings occur. I've seen it with my clients. I've seen it with my own team. So how would you kind of troubleshoot the communication of remote teams where they can't see each other more than once a year in person?
Hmm. Hmm. Mm, that's a tough question, but I also have experiences with that. It is not easy, but we have to try. We have to try. We have to be persistent. We have to be open, and we have to listen actively. when other person is speaking. So yeah, you have to try. I don't have the perfect answer for that, because I know this is a problem. This is a very big problem, but we have to stay on the track and communicate more often, and try to troubleshoot this. Role playing is a good example of overcome misunderstandings or lack of communications during via Zoom or something like that. I don't know. I'm searching for that answer also.
That's a really good thing to try, because even though we're not in person, we can still have a conversation like we are having right now, and we can see each other. We just need, more verbal and non-verbal combination, like my hands, for example,
Yes.
and things like that.
Yeah.
So I've also noticed in a lot of your podcast episodes, since you also have a podcast, and in the posts that you're writing, that you often focus on emotional intelligence. So why do you think that's such an essential part of communication? How does that fit into the whole structure?
Yeah. Well, our emotions are part of us. If we understand ourselves better, we can better understand others. I don't know if you agree, but when we truly know ourselves, we can better understand our family, friends, and clients also. In both personal and business communication, understanding is the key.
I think that also kind of ties into saying no and setting healthy boundaries. How would you recommend, especially entrepreneurs, to do so? Because I've encountered throughout the years that friends and family mostly are confused with, for example, what I do, and they don't understand that working from home, for example, is really working. So sometimes throughout all of these 7 years, basically what I do, it's very weird to them because it's over the computer. So how do you kind of respect their requests while also keeping your own rhythm of work intact?
Yeah. So yeah, first you have to respect yourself and your time and energy. And when you starting respecting yourselves and putting yourself first and your needs and time first, then people realized, okay, she is respecting yourselves, and then people start to respect you, and then yeah, I just said now it's I balancing day by day, but now I tell my mom or grandma, okay, I work from, I don't know, 9 to 5, and I'm working from home. It's also a job, it's my job. I love my job, and please oh no, please respect me. Please respect my boundary and my time and energy. I can't do it right now, but I can do it on Sunday. I know. I don't know.
Makes full sense.
Yeah.
I'm wondering about, so we have, growth mindset, scarcity mindset. We also have emotional immaturity and things like that. So, recognize those patterns in other people. So those are all, from my opinion, just communication styles or habits that they need to change. It's not character based, that's my opinion. Basically, if somebody is emotionally immature, I don't consider that to be they're bad person, if that makes sense. It's more of a style that they're kind of used to and it worked for them basically, but they're not aware of it. Same with scarcity mindset versus growth mindset. Usually people want to be good towards other people, but they don't see those situations in their own communication. How can you communicate with somebody who has those aspects of communication but they're not aware of it, and you don't jump at them and say you're emotional? You have to have some sort of way of navigating that conversation? How do you help them and yourself?
Yeah. Well, I realize that, and I can recognize that, So but I don't want to change that person. I only can change myself, and I let them to be just like they are, So yeah, it's simple. Just let it go.
What if you have somebody like that in your team or family? How do you, so you can let them be, but it can clash. So how do you navigate conflicts with people who have those habits?
Hmm. Okay. Well, mm, you cannot avoid a conflict. It's obvious that it's going to happen. But what you can do is to be yourself, to be honest, to have a clear conversation and clear communication. But yeah, you cannot change that person. You only can change yourself and your answer to them, but you don't have to be rude or I don't know, violent or something like that. um, and maybe that other person will one day hear you what you want to say to them. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's not nije znanstveno dokazano, ali ako si ti cijelo vrijeme tak iskrena, staložena, mirna prema toj osobi, pa mislim, sama će ta osoba skužit nakon nekog vremena da nije problem u tebi. Ali ako mi njima idemo govoriti kako se to ponašaš, ti si problem, kakva ti, to je kontraefekt.
Yes, that makes sense. But I'll give you a situation.
Okay,
because
great.
my question was very broad, so it's not easy to pinpoint. Basically, let's make a person. Let's say we have Mary, and Mary is working in a remote team, for example, and Mary is a great team member. Mary does her tasks, everything's going well. But Mary is also, let's say, a perfectionist, and Mary has emotional reaction to when her team lead gives feedback, for example. Mary doesn't see feedback as constructive criticism, but as an attack. How do you, in a professional setting, let's say, help Mary, learn that and understand? What would you, if you were her team lead, what would you say to Mary?
First, I need to understand Mary. Why is that? Why is she so confused? Why is she so angry? What is the problem? What is really the problem? Because it is not the problem, the team or boss. Something else is in the most cases the problem. Something we carry on during our past, our, I don't know, traumas, etc. Something else is problem. So we can help Mary by giving her yes, her task in which she is very good, and what she can achieve. So we can say to Mary, well done, or great job. This is very good. And what you can work on is this. But step by step, I don't know, 1 week, this, 1 month, this. And I don't know, for 6 months, I think we will see the change.
I think that's a very quality approach because it's focusing on the person. We're taking the context into consideration.
Yeah.
I'm wondering about teams where communication could stop you from getting a raise or a new position. I've noticed in a lot of people who surround me that they're not just entrepreneurs but employees, and they're very good at their job in other companies, that if a team leader doesn't understand their context, just like you described, and doesn't have that emotional, maturity and capability to kind of put the work a little bit aside and say, okay, we're helping this person develop in a professional setting, they are kind of not seen for moving forward in the company. So how could they as an employee navigate that situation?
Prvo nek vidi jel se može obratiti nekom članu tima koji ju možda razumije. Onda i naravno sa sobom da vidi jel je uopće u stanju to podijeliti. Jer obično kad imaš neki problem ili traumu, moraš si naći osobu od povjerenja da joj se možeš uopće otvoriti i reći joj što te zapravo muči, a onda te to isprečava da budeš još bolja u poslu i tako dalje, da ostvariš te neke poslovne ciljeve i rezultate. A onda, ako ne uspiješ ni naći člana tima, onda ideš na višu razinu, definitivno od svog menadžera, znači CEO, vlasniku i tako dalje, da se vidi u čemu je stvar, jer ti želiš i dalje raditi, ali imaš neke probleme koje te sputavaju, pa da vide kako bi se to zajedno moglo riješiti. Ja bi tak napravila.
I think that's a really good advice, because the owner, founder, CEO, C-suite level, I don't think they see that situation. You're so in day to day, and you don't even can notice maybe if somebody's having a really bad, experience in the company with somebody that's their team lead. So I think it's very important for people to understand that. But it's also important to understand when it's a toxic work culture. And I've seen that, thrown around in a lot of articles, places. How would you describe a toxic work culture, and what would be signs you are in a toxic work culture? Run, or maybe you have to kind of maybe adjust your approach. Maybe it's not that bad. Maybe you just think it's bad.
Dakle, toksična atmosfera je atmosfera u kojoj su ljudi vođeni samo za ostvarenje ciljeva. Znači, cilj je toliki imaš budžet, to trebaš ostvariti, toliko prihoditi firmi i ti si broj tu za ostvarenje naših ciljeva i ne poštuju te, ne dignuti ni plaću, niti ti kažu hvala, ne cijene te, znači bježi od toga, nemoj biti tu dugo i traži si ili novi posao ili kreni od sebe. I naravno ako te i vrijeđaju ili ti govore ne znam, ja sam doživjela nekoliko i vezano za žene uvreda i tako dalje. Tako da od toga bježite. Bez obzira, znači ništa nije vrijedno, ni vašeg truda, ni zdravlja, ni nikakvi novci, jer vi ne možete dati više od sebe ako ste u takvom okruženju. Bez obzira, možda čak i da volite taj posao, ali okruženje vas može dosta može utjecati na vas. Tako da iz takve okoline definitivno bježite. A kad osjetite da je onako pozitivna atmosfera, podržavajuća, kad možete računati jedni na druge, kad se timovi međusobno dogovaraju, kad znaš da tvoj suradnik ti je tu, da ga možeš pitati za jednu tablicu, pojašnjenje ili ne znam, samo ti treba jedan korak da ti on kaže, da te pogura, da možeš ići dalje. Tu vidiš da se radi timski i da naravno da se radi o tome da se ostvare neki ciljevi. Ali opet ako se ti osjećaš dobro u tom okruženju i znaš da možeš postaviti pitanje i da je to tvoje pitanje dobrodošlo, ostani tu, daj sve od sebe i ti ćeš se osjećati bolje i moći ćeš dati više. Jer kad si ti dobro, onda možeš dati više i drugima, i timu, i sebi, i obitelji, kome god. Da.
I fully agree with that. I also feel that, work environments where they kind of pin people against each other, like you feel you're competing against other people for a job, and then you can't, you can't kind of be relaxed, you can't work, and you have to be careful what you say to somebody. It doesn't matter, in my opinion, like if the paycheck is the best in the world, and you have all the really good benefits and all of that, but if you get there with a knot in your stomach, that's
Da.
immediately. And I've had that happen to me as an entrepreneur. I've had moments where I had that knot in my stomach, but it's my company, so I can change stuff.
Yes.
So that's fully different, basically. And I kind of want to say to people, you're gonna have those feelings, whatever you do. It's part of work, but it's indicator. I feel bad. Is this a huge problem? Is it solvable, or is this just me being afraid of conflict or being afraid of tough conversations, or is it really toxic, just like you described? Is somebody, actually doing a situation where I'm being harassed? Because that's what you described. That's harassment. And I'm really sorry that happened to you. That, I hope that's also additional fuel for your company. And when you have a bigger team, basically, that you're gonna definitely not repeat that.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
definitely.
sure. So how do you feel managing yourself now? And how does your kind of, are you a good boss? Do you give yourself vacation time?
Ja. Da, znači ovo mi je puno bolje jer si dajem tu nekakvu svoju slobodu kreiranja vlastitog i vremena i poslovnog vremena i dogovaranja poslovnih sastanaka i planiranja i dozu igre i veselja i radosti, jer ja ti većinom radim stvari one koje volim raditi i to me drajva i nekak se okružim s ljudima takvima i zapravo uživam u tome što radim. Mislim da sam si da sam ponekad jesam zahtjevna prema samoj sebi, naravno, jer moram neke stvari napraviti, ali si i dajem dozu i odmora i poštujem svoje vrijeme i to kako sam ti objasnila, da počinje dan i s jogom i meditacijom i to je nešto što si želim i dalje zadržati bez obzira na količinu posla i sve kako će se razvijati biznis s vremenom, ali ako sebi ne dozvolim zapravo i taj odmor, ne mogu drugima dati pravu i punu verziju sebe kakvu zaslužuju. I svi, i moji slušatelji, i klijenti i obitelj, tako da eto.
I fully agree with that. Took me years to figure out that rest is not a reward. I always say, even to my team, all of the SOPs that we have in Proprium, they're not just because I sat down and I thought about potentials. I made those mistakes. This is not because, I just, thought about this would be a good structure for it. No, I did it, so everything that you basically think that you can kind of mess up, I tried it, I did it. Let's find new mistakes so we can, have a better manual for the company even. So you're going to get embarrassed. You're going to send an email to a client that's, without attachment, or you're going to forget an email, or you're going to keep it in draft, or something is going to happen from any situation possible. So I think that love for what we do is crucial, because if you're not having fun at the end of the day, why do this? This is 24/7 consuming thing in your thoughts. Even if I have boundaries and I have my work hours just like you do, I'm gonna, take a shower and an idea will pop in my head. Or I'm gonna go on a walk and I'll be like, whoa, this could be a new product, right? So it's wild how your brain is basically wired on entrepreneurship all the time, even if you're not working. Do you have those moments? What is the most fun that kind of happened?
Da, to je super. Definitivno imam takvih trenutaka, ali to mi to moram sad zapisati. Znači, ova ideja koja bi mogla biti jako, jako dobra. I najčešće mi se takve ideje rode kad mi je mozak na pašu, kad odem na izlet s obitelji ili negdje i malo pustim onako posao sa strane i onak mi dođe ideja na putovanju i onako kad malo promijenim sredinu i okruženje i onda mi dođe ta ideja i jel mogu odmah sad reći kako mi je došla ideja da kreiram win-win šalice. Znači, to je novo, to će biti novo jer uskoro slavim prvi rođendan, to je win-win komunikacije slave prvi rođendan u 6. mjesecu i ja sam htjela svojim klijentima napraviti te win-win šalice iz kojih će ljudi piti, gdje će sami slaviti onako nekakvi svoj uspjeh, te neke male korake koje nekad se čine mali, ali zapravo su veliki, jer puno malih koraka vodi do ostvarenja velikih, tako da evo, jako se veselim tom projektu i to se isto onak rodilo, ja pričam svom mužu, ali ja bi šalice. Otkud sad šalice? Ali to ti onak jednostavno dođe i to je to. Ja znam da će to biti 100%.
So I want one of those for when I'm hosting my podcast, so I can drink my coffee from them. 100%. And I think that when we met and when we had our first conversation, I don't know if you remember, I told you how I love your company name, because it's so crucial in business. And that's how I see sales also, like win-win. It's a communication cycle. And people think that it's, like I'm trying to make you buy something, or this is not a really honest relationship, but it's entrepreneurship solves a problem and you provide value. So I love the mugs idea. I can't wait to hear about, all of the things that are going to go on them. So I'm guessing you're going to have a web shop. Hopefully it's not just going to be for clients.
I think that that's the next step also, but step by step.
I love that. So you mentioned your podcast. Could you tell us a little bit about how did you start that? Why is it called Win-Win Talk? And what's the goal of it?
Ja. Da se prešalta na jezik. Pa da, onako kad sam razmišljala čime bi se sve htjela baviti, znači ja sam ti htjela spojiti edukaciju, komunikaciju i savjetovanje. I kako sam završila zapravo komunikologiju na hrvatskim studijima i cijeli život sam radila nekakve intervjue, razgovore, pisala, bila novinarka, radila u medijima, ja sad razmišljam, pa zašto ne bi ja i napravila i podcast gdje mogu i drugi ljudi, znači, podijeliti nekakve svoje ideje, svoje iskustva, vlastita i naravno poduzetnici, kroz što sve prolaze zapravo. Tako da sam htjela podijeliti njihove priče s drugim ljudima, a zašto ne kroz podcast, jer ljudi si vole i poslušati neke stvari. Danas živimo u dosta užurbanom vremenu gdje su informacije, hrpa informacija imaš iz dana u dan. Tako da sam mislila da bi to bio onako dosta dobar kanal komunikacije koji zapravo omogućava da se prenese poruka. Evo, dosta jednostavno onak možeš slušati, možeš nešto raditi i slušati si podcast i izvući neke ključne poruke koje želiš.
I love that because I love podcasts. You can tell by me having my own podcast. I think that kind of gave it away. But I think that podcasts are so good, especially when two entrepreneurs are talking, for me personally, because I feel like a fly on the wall of that conversation. It doesn't feel like this interview that you can see on TV where everything's so straight. And you, especially as a journalist, understand that. It's a whole difference. So how do you kind of navigate your journalistic experience with being a podcast host? How different is it for you?
Wow. Znaš što mi je najbolje od svega? Što se ne moram točno držati scenarija, jer mi niko neće reći kak si sad to, mi smo ti dali ove upute, to se mora forma biti zadovoljena. Ja sam si dala zapravo slobodu u svom podcastu da napravim, da ga onak pustim u raw verziji sa svime, kak zapravo onak skroz iskreno, i tu sam napravila zapravo veliku promjenu gdje se više toliko ne držim forme, jer sam skužila da nije forma toliko bitna, važni su ljudi i važna je poruka koju oni žele poslati i podijeliti s ljudima.
I fully agree with that. And you also know my preparation questions for our conversation. And you also can see that 80% of the questions were those that I didn't send you. So I really love when the conversation goes and flows, for sure. So one of my last questions for us today is, what advice would you give to entrepreneurs globally or professionals who want to improve their networking and communication skills, especially in a world today where we can, have a conversation with anybody from anywhere at any given time?
Da, to malo trebamo razmisliti, ali ne baš puno, jer zapravo budi iskren i budi takav kakav jesi. I ljudi će prepoznati tvoju autentičnost i evo, ja sam skužila da otkad sam se prestala pretvarati, otkad sam skinula neke uloge, otkad sam takva kakva jesam, puno mi je bolje, lakše mi je u životu, idem i rješavam stvari iz dana u dan i trudim se, učim i eto, povezujem se s ljudima, ljudi mi dolaze, na kraju ima istine u tome da kako zračiš, tako i privlačiš. Tako da nekako se okružujem s dobrim ljudima, kvalitetnim ljudima i to mi je jako vrijedno, evo.
So what's next for your company and your personal journey other than the win-win mugs? What is something that you want to share?
Da, to sam ti rekla, to su ove definitivno šalice koje će ići uskoro, to je prvi novitet koji će biti jako brzo, a drugo je definitivno širenje na globalni market, znači tržište izvan Hrvatske.
I really believe that's gonna be fun. I have this, I would say, challenge with Croatian entrepreneurs, to explain to them that it's not that scary to work with people from all over the world. And it's always just this human-to-human relationship at the end of the day. Just like you said, you attract people who are very similar to you. I just kind of want to say to anybody who's listening and is maybe afraid of the global market, is you can also have some difficulties with language. You can, forget words and stuff like that. And people actually don't kind of take that as a bad thing. And I've met so many amazing people from all over the world who are so kind, empathetic, amazing entrepreneurs. And basically just by talking to them, you can already see, yep, this person knows what they're talking about. We can collaborate, and then you start and you gain these, multiple year-long relationships with them as clients that basically shape your company even. I had a period of time when I was not being a consultant. I was a project manager. I've had some different scenarios in my business, which I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about on your podcast in the episode. So I'm not going to spoil that one. I want to say to everybody to check out your podcast later on. But the clients were the people that asked me, like, do you understand that you're actually doing the consulting work for us currently? Because I was so proactive and I didn't even realize. I thought a consultant is this 50, 60 plus year old person that has 5 MBAs, and I have to, have this and that experience. And then I was like, wait, I'm actually doing that, and I should start doing that because it makes me really happy to, see patterns, find issues, create solutions for them, and it's fun. So I'm pretty sure you're going to do great on the international market.
Hvala ti puno. Da, mislim da ima tu jako, jako puno benefita. Ali da, imam i izazova koje trebam nadvladati, ali vjerujem da hoću.
I think that this podcast was basically one of the first steps because we did a little bit of combination of Croatian and English.
Yes.
I hope that our listeners appreciate Croatian language because I think that's also an experience to hear, especially how we're both faster in Croatian. But I definitely think that your service and your mission and what this company stands for is definitely what entrepreneurs need in this fast-paced world currently. So I want to thank you so much for being my guest today on the podcast. And I'm pretty sure we're going to have some other episodes that we're going to record later on. Thank you.
Hvala tebi.
So thank you for tuning in to this episode of Systems with Laura. Kristina shared such valuable insights about the power of authentic communication, emotional intelligence in both our personal and professional lives. If you want to learn more about Kristina's workshops, educational programs, or follow her journey, make sure to check Win-Win Communications and her podcast, Win-Win Talks. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with anyone who could use a little extra inspiration to strengthen their communication skills. Until next time, keep building better systems inside and out.
If you enjoy conversations like this, you'll love the Proprium Digital Network. It's a community where digital service founders get tools, templates, weekly insights, and behind the scenes guidance on building systems the right way. If you want to stop building systems alone and start building with support, join us at proprium.agency.